podcast where best friends and next door neighbors, Willow and Lillian, spill the tea on murder, mysteries, and other things that go bump in the night. So get your favorite teacup ready and let's get into it. Welcome to Cruelty Podcast. This is Lillian, and with me is Willow.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
We're continuing with our Caught on Camera month. Mm-hmm. And usually when we do these cases, we're trying to do ones that were solved because of CCTV.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know this about this case, but it was solved with just like a 3-second clip from CCTV.
I don't know the case yet, so
Yeah.
but that's
Well,
interesting.
it's
It's 3
Samantha
seconds.
Koenig and Israel Keyes.
Oh.
Yes. So I'm going to go ahead and give the trigger warning, content warning here. There is sexual assault and just disturbing imagery. And when I get there, you'll know what I'm saying. To describe it would then render the trigger warning useless. So it's real bad. This is real bad. And if you're very sensitive...
I wasn't prepared. I thought you were doing this later this month.
No.
Oh, you meant today.
I did mean today.
I hate this case.
It's terrible.
It really it makes me nervous. I'm glad I ate before.
Yes. Yes. All right. So we're just going to get right into it. Because I want to never do it again. All right. So on February 1st, 2012, Samantha Koenig went to work. She worked at a drive-through coffee shop in Anchorage, Alaska called Common Grounds. Samantha had only been working at the shop for about a month and was still kind of, getting used to things. I've never worked as a barista.
There was a Common Grounds. There was a Common Grounds in Fayetteville, I believe, and that was a great coffee shop. And yes, I have been a barista for many, many years. It's my favorite thing.
Yes, I have literally no experience with that.
This case, I was working drive-through when I found out about this case, and it fucking terrifies me. I'm sorry, I'll let you continue.
No, that's fine. I opened it up because I knew you had been a barista. But I know you have to learn all the different drinks and how to make espresso and all that stuff. And so she was still kind of learning the ropes. And she was working by herself that night on the late shift. She's only 18 years old. And it was 8 p.m. and this is right around closing time. The last customer of the day approached and she took his order. On CCTV, she can be seen making the order. And, nothing really seems out of the ordinary. Nothing is going on that would suggest what is about to happen. And I wanted to take a minute to talk about Anchorage for a second. It's one of the more populated places in Alaska.
It's so pretty.
It's beautiful. However, just because it's one of the more populated places, it's not densely populated. It's pretty spread out. It's really like a lot of predators, serial killers choose places like this because there's just nobody around. Yeah. And it helps them stalk their victims easier. It helps them get away with it because there's wilderness to hide your crime in. And I do
yourself
think
while you're stalking.
Yeah, and I do think that's part of the reason Israel Keyes moved to Anchorage. Yeah. So the footage reveals that Samantha finished making the order, turned back to the window, and handed the unseen customer his order. Then you can see her step back from the window. She is startled. Her hands are up. Though the customer can't be seen, it's clear she's being held up at gunpoint. Yeah. Moments later, Samantha rushes around and turns off all the lights in the little coffee shop. And to help you visualize, y'all, this is basically like a food truck.
Yeah, we have a tiny coffee shop in town that's about the same size as this building.
It's Bean Me Up, isn't it?
Yes. It's literally the size of like not even a walk-in closet, but like a small closet.
Yeah, and this is very similar. It's just kind of like a trailer, basically, with a window where a customer can either walk up or drive up. Mm-hmm. And it's just a couple coffee machines and there's not a big place. Mm-hmm. So after all the lights are out, the gunman slides through the drive-through window and forces Samantha to her knees. He restrains her with zip ties, like he ties her hands behind her back. Mm-hmm. He's also wearing a ski mask, so it is impossible to tell what he looks like. He asks her where her car is parked, but Samantha says she doesn't have a car and that her dad will be there any minute to pick her up. And I don't know, but that just was a knife in the heart to read that. When you have kids that age, And you think about, or you even think back to when you were young and you had your first little job and you're just trying so hard to do good. And you got to know she was just so scared, and I hate it. But you know what? She was a really brave person. We'll get to that in a minute. So the gunman forces her to stand and leads her out of common grounds towards Tudor Road, and Samantha is never seen alive again. And Samantha fought like hell for her life. She broke away from her captor and tried to make a run for it. However, the chase only lasted a couple yards before he tackled her to the ground. He then told her if she tried anything like that again, he'd shoot her and that no one would hear because his gun had a silencer. Without any other choice, Samantha did as she was told and was led to the gunman's white pickup truck. And he had parked across the street. Like there was a Dairy Queen over there and stuff. And they're all closed by this time. There's really nobody around. He had removed the toolboxes from his truck and the license plate. So that way it wouldn't be recognizable to witnesses, if there were any. Basically what I'm saying is he was prepared for this and had planned for this abduction.
Yeah.
This was not spur of the moment.
Yeah.
Once in the passenger seat of the truck, Samantha was told she was only being taken for ransom. She told the man that her family didn't have much money, but he assured her that they could like crowdfund, like the community would come together and pay, and that everything would be fine, and she would be reunited with her family if she would just do what she was told.
Right.
And she agreed. Because what else is she supposed to do?
Right.
I don't know, it just makes me sad. It was then that her abductor realized that she'd left her cell phone in the little coffee shop, and this was an integral part of his plan. Samantha's abductor was Israel Keyes. He was an arsonist, burglar, sex offender, and serial killer. He planned his crimes meticulously. He was born on January 7th, 1978, and had a pretty rough childhood. His mother was a religious fanatic, and it was drilled into him at a young age that everything he did and thought was sinful. He wasn't allowed to learn a musical instrument or to watch television, as these things were of the devil. At an early age, he hurt animals and set fires. Once, he tied a cat to a tree and tortured it, shooting it with a 22-gauge shotgun. He did this in front of a male friend who used to break into houses with him. Upon seeing how the cat was hurt and suffering, Israel's friend vomited. Israel laughed at him. Just thought it was funny that he was so weak. And Israel swore right then and there to himself. Like, this was in part of his confession. Like, this was a big one of those turning moments where he decided that he was different from other people.
Built different.
Yes, that he was here for a different purpose.
Ew.
And so he started keeping his antisocial behavior from himself. This is a time when he became very withdrawn from others and didn't really have too many friends. He became obsessed with serial killers, especially Ted Bundy, who, by the way, we will never cover on this podcast.
Yeah.
It's done enough. I don't want to hear about that motherfucker. And yeah, he realized then with the torture and murder of the cat that this was something he wanted to do more of. Mm-hmm. In his late teens, he told his mother that he was an atheist. Now, before this, he had been keeping a personal journal in which he wrote down like every sin that he committed. And he seemed to feel bad about it.
He felt bad about it?
Yeah, it was kind of his confessional, this journal.
I was thinking the opposite, like he was like
bragging. No.
Yeah.
No, he was really religious until he was like around almost 18 years old.
It's weird that he wants to hurt animals and do
people,
all of this and people, but
and like is really into serial killers, but was religious. Well, that's kind of the reason with the murder of the cat, and I do call it a murder.
Yeah,
by the way.
Yeah.
He gave up on religion right then. So he quit writing in the journal, at least about that kind of stuff. And then he immediately told his mother and father that he was an atheist. And as a result, his parents kicked him out, refused to let his siblings speak to him. And this led to a lifelong obsession with Satanism.
How old was he when he got kicked out?
17, 18.
Oh, okay. I was thinking child. Okay.
No. I said late teens.
Oh, I didn't hear that part. Gotcha.
Excuse me. The air quality, as you all know, is fucking garbage.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm breathing through soup. He became fascinated with Satanism, which I find really funny because he's an atheist, so I don't presume he's going to believe in Satan. I'm going to guess then it's LaVeyan Satanism. And I always take this opportunity to clear up some mistakes and like misconceptions about Satanism. Not that I'm promoting it.
It's been a while since we talked about it on this podcast.
Yes, because you know what I hate? A satanic panic. Why? It's dumb. So
we're going to do a satanic panic month.
We are going to do a satanic panic month because that shit has rolled back around.
Yeah.
It just, it's like a boil, really. You know, you'll pop it, it'll go away for a bit, it comes right back. It's a cyst. Yeah. It's oozy, it's stinky, everyone's having a bad time. So
Everyone's having a bad time.
I'm having a bad time. So it's just it's an oldie but a goodie. So what's the difference between the different kinds of Satanism? Well, I will tell you.
Yeah.
So you have LaVeyan Satanism, which was kind of pioneered by Anton LaVey, that guy in the 60s with the bald head, and he looked really silly and dressed silly, and it was all silly. He didn't believe in Satan either.
Yeah.
No. It was just sort of like putting yourself first, a lot of self-care, a lot of stupid rituals that were supposed to empower the self. And it was kind of like, don't go out of your way to hurt people, but put yourself first, fuck everybody else. I think it's stupid edgelord shit, but it's more of a philosophy, not a religion.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's the sort of Satanism Israel Keyes was into. I'm going to go with probably. Now, there's Luciferian Satanism, and that is actual worship of the actual devil. These people believe the devil is real, and they call him Lucifer, and they worship Spicy Daddy, and I think it's dumb. But you know what? Do what you want.
It's basically just like Christianity.
It's no different to
words.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same mythos as well. So you just have your fun with your black mass. I don't care where you put that communion wafer. I've read.
At least they're wearing
Satanic
black.
Bible.
That's cool.
Hey, at least it looks cool.
Yeah. It does look cool, that's for sure.
But anyway, so back to Israel Keyes. It was here when he got kicked out of his house, he decided he wanted to commit a ritual style murder, like a satanic murder. And everybody wants to say this guy was so smart. Really? Because it seems pretty fucking dumb to me. I'm just going to say.
It's pretty edgelord, but he is pretty young at this point anyway. So.
He is, but he never shakes it.
Oh,
Never.
Really?
Never.
It's like, he was really smart in certain aspects, but...
Boy, he was real dumb in this case. Anyway, prior to being kicked out of his parents' house, Israel learned carpentry, like to the point where he built his family home. He built a log cabin at 16.
I want to build a house. That sounds
too.
so fun.
My weak ass can't do shit. I can't even open a pickle jar. And he was really into hunting. He was told by his family to hunt anything with a heartbeat. And it was a pretty brutal and they didn't mean people, they just meant any animal. Anything that moves, kill it, and because we have nothing else to eat if you don't.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
He spent most of his youth trying to impress his parents before becoming an atheist interested in Satanism. He just could never impress them. And I think it really fucked him up. And look, I'm not blaming the parents entirely. I think this is a good example of nature and nurture.
Yeah.
I think he was born this way. I think there's something really seriously wrong. He probably needed a lot of therapy. His mother even said she saw the signs and was really concerned. Yet you did nothing. I get it, because back in the 80s, what were you to do? It wasn't really taking your kid to therapy or going to therapy yourself. While it was a thing, man, it was rare.
Yeah.
I had never heard of it until the 2000s that people just went to therapy. If you went to therapy before then, it was because you were bad.
Right.
Broken.
Right.
And now we all agree. Pretty much just everybody needs therapy.
If you have a brain, like, you should probably go see a therapist, because that's the doctor for your brain.
Yeah. And you may feel happy, but like overwhelmed or stressed out. It doesn't mean you're mentally ill, but it's always great to be able to talk with a person. Yeah. But, there was a big stigma around it in my childhood and late teens for sure. So, yeah, I'm not blaming his parents entirely. A little bit. Just a little bit. In either the summer of 1997 or 1998, because he can't remember, right before he joined the military, Israel Keyes committed a particularly violent sexual assault on an unnamed teenage girl. He estimated her age between 14 to 19. And this was as she was tubing down the river with her friends. He stalked her all day until he could get her alone at knife point. And
he stalked her while she was tubing down the river?
He chased along, yes.
That's fucking creepy.
Yes, it is.
Oh, fuck. Mm-mm.
And now he had planned to murder her in kind of a ritualistic fashion, but at the last moment he let her go. And this is another turning point in his life. He decided right then and there he'd never let anyone go again.
Oh my God.
And that it was his, and he wasn't violent enough. He had said that too. He was weak and was not violent enough. So he resolved he would be more violent next time he would kill. He claims then that he murdered his first victim shortly after this incident, after he joined the military. And frequently in his confessions, I've listened to a lot of documentaries about Israel Keyes. He would kind of start confessing to something and then say, I don't want to talk about it anymore. So we'll never know how many people he actually killed.
It's really annoying. It's a pick-me-bitch type attitude, honestly.
Yeah, it's like he wanted something for, like, if they didn't talk just the right way to him, he was out of there. And it was really frustrating, both to investigators and family members wanting answers.
Because he wants everybody to know how brutal he was, but he doesn't want to get the charge. So he's, like, caught in a weird, like...
He's such a weird, terrible guy. So, of course, Samantha wasn't his first victim, and it's probable that she wasn't his last, although you will see it in articles and documentaries and stuff that she was the last victim. No, she is the last confirmed victim. It is believed he killed a man shortly after killing Samantha. After realizing that Samantha didn't have her phone and it was back at the coffee shop, Israel turned his truck around and went back for it.
What?
And I find this detail remarkable.
What does he want with her phone?
Well, you'll find out in a minute.
I want to know now.
He was a meticulous planner, but he was very sloppy with Samantha's murder. He took a lot of risks, and this was a big one. He went back in through the drive-thru window, retrieved her phone, and got back in the pickup truck. It was here he sent 2 text messages from her phone, one to the owner of Common Grounds and one to her boyfriend. The messages said she'd had a bad day and was going out of town for a couple of days. Literally, neither the owner or her boyfriend believed that shit. They did not think it sounded like her, nor was it like her. She had no car.
Right. Who's taking her? Where's she going?
Exactly.
With what? No clothes either?
No, that doesn't make any sense. That's what I mean by he prided himself on being meticulous. This is dumb.
Yeah.
It's because he has no empathy and he doesn't know how people would really react or how they would really feel.
He doesn't care about anyone, so he doesn't...
No, that's what I mean, no empathy.
That's interesting.
See, okay.
Empathy makes you just
smarter.
Yes, yes.
I keep telling you, I drill this into everyone I talk to about empathy in particular. Empathy is just another source of information.
Or another way of gathering information.
Exactly. When you care about other people, you're open, you're listening, you're receptive, and thus you're gathering information.
Right.
And when in Israel's case, I don't know if he can help it that he didn't have empathy. He just doesn't. But man, look at it, the bonehead shit he does. Yeah. Of course they didn't believe that was from her. Nobody would do that or write that. It would make me immediately, oh my God, it would make my stomach drop if I got a text like that. I would throw up. I would know it was wrong. And of course they text back and she doesn't answer, and that seems really sus to them. And of course it does. He demanded that Samantha hand over her debit card, but she told him it was in the truck that she shared with her boyfriend. Because she really did believe him that he was going to let her go, she gave him the address and the PIN for the card. Israel drove Samantha to the house that she shared with her longtime... Excuse me, I spoke wrong. I have this all stupid in my notes. Israel drove Samantha to the house he shared with his longtime girlfriend and 10-year-old daughter.
Oh my
That's another
God.
thing that freaks me out. Is while he's committing all these horrific murders, he lives with this woman who is unnamed. I'm not going to share her name.
And
it is irrelevant.
Daughter.
And his little girl. And supposedly he was a good father and a decent
serial
husband.
killers, when people in general can just like switch like that, fucking terrifying.
She had no idea.
Fucking terrifying.
There, he took Samantha to a shed out in the back of his property. He kept her hands bound with the zip ties and tied her by the neck to, like, the support in the shed. He put on a radio in the shed and turned it up so that if she tried to scream, no one would hear her. He told Samantha that he had a police scanner, so if she alerted the neighbors, he would know and he would kill her. Because a lot of people want to say here, because everyone loves victim blaming, that she could have gotten out, and maybe, I don't know. I don't know how she was restrained.
Zip tie around her neck?
It wasn't a zip tie.
Oh, but
she was
still,
like,
she's
it was a
tied
rope
around her neck.
Yeah, it was a rope around her
with
neck.
her hands zip tied.
Yeah, I don't know how she would have gotten out.
People, I don't understand how people can blame victims in any way, but it's extra astounding whenever they do it in situations like this.
People just, I think part of it, I want to be fair here. Yeah. I think part of it is we all inevitably put ourselves in the shoes of the victim, and then we try and think, okay, what would I do?
Right.
But when you talk like that, it just comes across as really victim blaming. Well, if that were me, I would have tried this. Right. Well, you're thinking straight, safe in your home. You're not terrified and being held at gunpoint.
And you don't know everything that she went through that night. You just know what the news reported.
I guarantee you there's some stuff left out for her dignity.
Well, and there's stuff left out because nobody else was there to witness it.
And Israel didn't come clean with every detail. He only came clean with the details he was fucking proud of.
But still, the people that are victim blaming are sitting comfortably on their couch with their hands not zip tied together and no threats to their lives. So.
Exactly. It just really...
Yeah.
It will forever piss me off.
There's this month specifically, I think, because people are able to watch them on camera do normal mundane things and not have any reactions to life. There's a lot of victim blaming this month in these cases.
There really is, and it's really frustrating. So Israel then left to go to the house where Samantha and her boyfriend's truck was. As he was getting the debit card from the truck, he was caught by Samantha's boyfriend, who yelled at him and then ran back inside to get help. Israel was able to get away in that time and wasn't found. He then drove to an ATM to check the PIN number before returning to his house and to the shed. That part, like when I was watching a documentary and it said that part, I knew she was moments away from being killed. Yeah. That's all, the entire reason he wanted her alive was for that PIN number. Israel told Samantha exactly what he planned to do with her. He told her he was going to rape her and then strangle her to death with the rope that was already around her neck. And that is precisely what he did. God. That he told her ahead of time, I think, is so evil and so cruel. And this is from his account, by the way.
Right.
Yeah. After murdering Samantha, he left her body in the shed and went back inside his house where he packed up his bags, his girlfriend's bags, and his daughter's bags. He was taking the family on a vacation cruise to New Orleans for 2 weeks. He left Samantha's body in that shed for 2 weeks while he went off on a fun trip with his family. Now, mind you, this is February in Anchorage. It is cold. So that is really going to...
completely preserved. Well, I mean, for the most part.
I hate this part that I'm getting ready to say. It like makes me want to cry, but I mean, there was some decomposition, obviously, and this is how we know. When he returned on February 17th, Israel went to the shed. He applied makeup to Samantha's decomposing face. To keep her eyes open, he sewed them open with fishing line.
I forgot about this part.
So awful, Lillian. I told you, disturbing imagery. He then propped up her body and held a recent newspaper up near her face and snapped a Polaroid. Israel then made photocopies of the Polaroid and got a hold of an old typewriter where he wrote a ransom note on the back of the photocopy. He demanded $30,000 put into the account for which he had the debit card for, which was Samantha's card. Now there is a picture of this, and yes, that will be. I don't want us to put that up on Instagram.
Yeah, no.
But we will put it up on Patreon. But I will say this: in some articles, people have said it is a recreation of the actual photograph.
Okay.
I do not think so. Okay. I think it's the actual photograph. And if I had received that ransom note with that picture of my child, my God, because she does not look alive to me.
Well, and you and I both have seen a lot of postmortem photos, like Victorian postmortem, like
Lots of
photography
them.
and stuff like that. So we can usually spot the fake. We're really good at it.
I mean, if it's not her, the recreation is an excellent job.
Not saying that we should judge that based on this picture in general. I just understand what you felt whenever you saw the image.
I had a pretty visceral reaction
that's what I mean.
to it. So, like I said, when we put pictures up on Patreon, it's so that we don't get sent to the shadow realm on other social media platforms, because you have to be, ours is an 18 and up Patreon. And these are public posts because we didn't take the picture, but if you're sensitive, it will be nested so that you don't have to look at it.
Yeah, I always put the warning signs before it.
Yeah, if you see like the warning sign, like, like the exclamation point, don't go past it. That's where we share more disturbing photos. Because, hey, not everybody wants to see that shit. Yeah. And I totally respect that. Okay. Israel then went to a local park and placed this letter under a memorial to a dog named Albert. He took a photo of this, texted it to her boyfriend, explaining at length that this was where he could find the ransom letter, under Albert.
That's so strange.
Yeah, it's a lot. He could have just put it in their mailbox. He'd been to their house.
Yeah. It's just strange.
The way he did this one was really weird. He was much more careful in his other murders. Samantha had been reported missing the following day after her abduction, after she'd already been dead for hours. Immediately, the FBI swarmed Anchorage. Her disappearance made national news right away. And they even released the CCTV footage. I remember when they did that.
I have it ingrained in the back of my mind.
I'll never forget
it's
it.
Terrifying.
Yeah, and I will be linking that. So when you go to Patreon to look at our photos, it'll be in the comments, it'll be in the description there for you could watch the CCTV on this. Despite the CCTV footage, they couldn't identify her abductor because he'd made her turn out all the lights. They guessed he was male, but that was even hard to tell from the video, definitively. The FBI had literally no good leads, and it looked as though Samantha's case would go cold. Notice that in a lot of these cases where they go cold, it's because it is a stranger that's involved.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Until, that is, meticulous planner Israel Keyes fucked up. The ransom scheme was a huge fuck up. If he hadn't done that, it's very likely he would have gotten away with Samantha's murder.
Wow.
Over the next few days, Israel dismembered Samantha's body and sunk it in a lake in a hole in the ice. James Koenig, Samantha's father, had hope that she was still alive after seeing the ransom letter, which is just heartbreaking. I can't even imagine. He was able to raise the $30,000 with help from his community, and this money was deposited in the account that Israel had the debit card to. Investigators in the FBI were convinced they could track him if he tried to make any withdrawals, and boy did he!
Right, I was like, that's the stupidest thing you could do.
The stupidest motherfucker.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
The first withdrawal from Samantha's account was made in Anchorage, then Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. Using CCTV footage from an ATM, he made the mistake. He's wearing a ski mask, but he usually got out of his car. But this time, his car is visible in the ATM footage from Arizona.
And they got his license plate?
No, they got the make and model of the car.
Gotcha.
So when he was in Texas, Highway Patrol, having gotten the APB on a white Ford Focus, which is what he was driving, pulled him over. During this stop, the police were able to gain enough probable cause to search the car. There, they found Samantha's cell phone and her debit card in his wallet.
Wow.
Disgusting. On March 13th, a month and a half after her murder, Israel Keyes was arrested. Samantha's body wasn't found until April 2nd. In police custody, Israel confessed to Samantha's murder, along with many others. I'm going to list his known victims first. And then his suspected victims. I won't be going into their cases in very much depth. I will be covering Israel Keyes fully, and Maddie, one of his supposed victims. I'll be covering her case really in depth on my next Patreon episode. Okay. In fact, probably sprinkled over the next couple of months is going to be a lot of Israel Keyes cases from me. I kind of feel like, especially with serial killers, so much is paid to them, so much attention. And I really want to center victims of this one. So I'm going to cover their cases individually, just like I would, like I usually do.
Right.
I really hate just reading off a list of names, you know?
Yeah.
And it's kind of why we avoid serial killers too much.
Right. We try to like sprinkle them in every now and then just because of the...
It's still important to talk about.
Well,
it's
and
still interesting.
People enjoy, well, I wouldn't say enjoy, but people usually gravitate to cases that they've already heard before sometimes. So.
Yes, we try and do a mix of cases you've probably never heard, international cases, because America's not the only country in the world, and then more famous cases because we have our own take on it.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to go over these. One of the things to note about Israel Keyes is that he didn't have a type. He didn't choose a type of victim. Instead, he chose them at random to reduce his chances of getting caught. So here are his known victims.
And sorry to interrupt, but weren't they like all over the place too? Like,
yeah.
They took place in
he went all over the United States. He confessed to murdering 49-year-old William Bill Scott Currier and 55-year-old Lorraine Simone Currier of Essex, Vermont. Keyes broke into the Currier home on the night of June 8th, 2011, and tied them up before driving them to an abandoned farmhouse. Once there, he shot Bill before sexually assaulting and strangling Lorraine. Their bodies to this day have never been found. 2 years prior to murdering them, he had hid a murder kit near the Currier home. Like, he planned it for 2 years. After the murders, he moved most of the contents to a new hiding place in Parishville, New York, where his murder kit, where those remained until after his arrest.
This is the part of the Israel Keyes case that really... I mean, aside from the, barista drive-through thing that just hits home.
It's stalking.
This is the thing that makes him so fucking creepy. Is planting the murder kits and then coming back years later.
Oh, it really
fucking
bothers
terrifying.
me. Just really scary.
Terrifying.
All right, so here's a list of his suspected victims, and these are all cold cases. Cassandra Cassie Emerson was 12 years old. She was a young girl from the Colville area and was reported missing after the remains of her mother, Marlene K. Emerson, age 29, were discovered in their burned-out trailer home on June 27, 1997. Cassie's remains were found in 1998, about 13 miles from her home. Keyes did admit that his first act of arson was with a trailer in Colville. When questioned by police, Keyes' one-time fiancée stated that she thought he was responsible for committing the 3 Colville murders. And he tried, of course, to destroy the evidence with a fire. Right. And it says 3 murders. There is another victim. They aren't named. I don't know why. I tried looking into it. There's very little information about that case. Keyes admitted to investigators that he had killed 5 people in Washington state and was the subject of an active investigation by the state police and Federal Bureau of Investigation. Keyes claimed to have either buried or submerged a victim in a lake in Nia Bay, Washington, sometime between July and October 2001. A body was found, but the death was ruled accidental. He also confessed to a double homicide of a young couple, and this would have been around 2001 to 2005. Like, his memory is sketchy. And remember, serial killers, when they're arrested, sometimes just straight up lie.
Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And I would not doubt if he was lying on a lot of these, especially the ones where there's no body or anything. According to Keyes, his victim was male, and he beat him to death. And the female of the couple, the woman, he strangled her. Both victims were buried. Keyes said he had killed 2 other victims in Washington, and he dumped them in Lake Crescent between the years of 2005 and 2006. Keyes did not have a criminal record in Washington, though he had been stopped on 2 occasions for, like, speeding or, like, a non-moving violation. But yeah, like, it's going to be really hard because there's no evidence now, you know.
Right.
But whatever. I just really hate this guy. It just sucks. There are a lot of, in New York State and in Morton, Washington, a lot of Jane Does and John Does that they keep wanting to attach to Israel Keyes. But man, there's just, I don't know, there's just no evidence. And he never confessed to any in New York, as far as I know. Keyes is a suspect of a series of 2007 murders and a string of crimes like arson, and he was called the Boca Killer, and this is near Boca Raton, Florida. The first case in the murder was that of Randy Ann Mallets Gorenberg, age 52, who died on March 23rd, 2007. She was abducted from the Boca Town Center Mall parking lot. Within an hour, her body was found, and she had been shot twice. And she was dumped at a different location. And there's very little information on her case. So when I do cover things individually, even the suspected victims, there are some that are going to be combined with others because of the complete lack of information, as it's likely still an ongoing investigation. So, don't know. The second murder was a kidnapping of an unidentified woman. Crime, not murder. And she and her toddler son were abducted from the same shopping mall parking lot on August 7th, 2007. The kidnapper wore a mask and sunglasses, but she caught glimpses of his face and described him as a tall, athletically built man with long hair. And that's pretty accurate to what he looked like if you see pictures. He released her unharmed after she withdrew cash from an ATM. Oh, wow. See, it's part of his pattern. So I definitely think she could have almost been a victim. The third case in Boca Raton was the murder of a woman named Nancy Baccio, 47 years old, and her 7-year-old daughter, Joey. They were found fatally shot in their car at a Boca Town Center Mall parking lot on December 12th, 2007.
My goodness.
Gosh, it just makes me sad. Authorities believe Israel may have murdered a woman named Deborah Feldman, 48 years old. She was a sex worker, and she had some substance abuse issues. Gosh, I don't know. They discovered that he had frequently searched for her case on his home computer right before his arrest. So yeah, I definitely think he was involved in that one. She was last seen at her apartment in Hackensack, New Jersey on April 8th, 2009, and her body has never been found. When federal agents showed her picture to Keyes, he kind of hesitated, and then he said, "I don't want to talk about her yet."
God.
It is suspected her remains are likely buried near Tupper Lake, New York. Okay, so the last case, and this will be the one I will be covering on this weekend's Patreon additional episode that we do for our patrons. That's the $5 tier and up. I will be covering Madison Maddie Geraldine Scott. She was last seen during the early morning at Hogsback Lake near Vanderhoof, British Columbia. She had been at a party, and she just went missing after that. Now, this is a 33-hour drive from Anchorage, where Israel lived at the time. And see, he had a tendency to choose victims by how unlikely they would be linked to him. And he would say, like, I would let my victims come to me in some remote location. Which is a really creepy thing to say.
Yeah.
Like he'll put himself in a location, and whoever walks by, well, that's just meant to be then. Like, it's fate.
Oh, my God.
And y'all, I find that so gross.
It's extra terrifying.
It's creepy.
Yes.
So it's not impossible because Keyes had traveled to Canada a lot. But when he was asked about whether he had killed anyone in Canada, he said, Canadians don't count. And I don't get what that means. It's a stupid thing to say.
It's probably because he's working with the United States government.
Yeah, you're probably right. He doesn't want to talk about it because he doesn't want to be extradited.
Yeah.
Israel was indicted for Samantha's murder and was to stand trial in March of 2013. On March 23rd, 2012, Israel attempted to escape using pencil shavings, which sounds
How?
really fucking weird.
How?
Basically, what he did was he used the shavings to pick the lock on his cuffs.
How?
Well, if you get it wide enough, because it's wood, and the little mechanism in the cuffs is pretty easy to turn over.
Okay, so you kind of make like a toothpick out of it?
Basically. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. He made a run for it and was tased into submission.
Good. I bet whoever tased that man
Felt good
enjoyed
about it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd give him a little extra. Unlike a lot of serial killers, Israel didn't like media attention. He didn't want harm coming to his family or to be accused of being a copycat killer because he admired serial killer Ted Bundy so much, right down to the attempted prison break. He didn't want the attention because he knew people would compare him to Bundy.
Yeah.
I mean, they wouldn't because they were different. Ted Bundy had a totally different pattern.
Yeah.
I just think that in his head, he was emulating Ted Bundy. So it's his problem. Over the months, while he was awaiting trial, he spoke often to investigators who were trying to link him to other crimes and cold cases. However, on December 2nd, 2012, Israel managed to sneak a razor blade into his cell, where he then took his own life. We may never have closure on his suspected cases, but I really hope we do. He was a terrible human being, and I am glad he's gone.
Yeah.
Pat Robertson, too. He died today. Huzzah.
Huzzah.
And I wanted to mention that only because I saw somebody post like, oh, you're cheering the death of somebody, you're evil.
Absolutely. Oh,
Am I? No, and I'll tell you why. He is a terrible man who funneled a lot of money into anti-LGBT legislation. In addition, he stole money from people for his stupid televangelism. And so
he's just like, he checks off all the boxes of a bad person.
His mustache twirly, like cartoonishly
he's racist,
evil.
He's homophobic, he's all of the bad things that you don't want to be. And
giant bigot.
Now he's dead.
Hooray!
And, you know, fuck yeah.
I don't want to wish Pat Robertson on Spicy Daddy, but I know the big guy downstairs can handle it.
Yeah, he's like licking his yes.
It's gonna give me gas, but it was delicious. So don't mind farting. No. So there wasn't a lot online about Samantha's personal life, but she seems to have been a good kid. She loved her family and her boyfriend, and she was just getting started in life. In order to present a more cohesive picture of Israel Keyes, like I said, I'm going to do this in several parts. I want to definitely cover the couple that he killed.
Right.
In Essex. I just think it's just so sad. And that story is horrific and would be a much longer episode than this one. So that's one I'm going to do on Patreon. They just, I don't foresee it fitting a theme anytime soon.
Right.
And I don't want to keep covering Israel Keyes.
Yeah.
We've covered him. He sucks.
Or make this like a 4-part series.
No. Instead, I'm just going to do victim-focused episode. And there's much more information about the couple that he murdered. So I'll be covering them too. And then Maddie Scott's case. It's cold now, and it needs more attention, Yeah. So anyway, that's to say, patrons, keep your ears open for that, because I'll be covering all of that on our bonus episode this week. Now I'm going to transition awkwardly into business time.
Did you want to tell them, speaking of Patreon, did you want to tell them about the deal you have going?
Yeah, I'm getting to that. Yeah. I'm having a contest.
Yes, she is.
And there's people been entered now.
Yes, there are.
Many. So what I'm going to do is I want you to go onto Discord. Okay? Post a picture of I don't care what, as long as it's safe for work and for my eyes. My gentle, delicate, innocent eyes. And I will put your name in a hat, and I will draw for a free Patreon membership for a month. And how does that work? I'm going to give you $5.
Yeah, that's it.
And if you say, Lillian, I must spend this on food or gas, I will say, okay,
Yeah.
enjoy. So other than I can't tell you what to do with $5, but I hope you become a patron.
Basically a drawing to
win $5.
win $5.
Okay?
We just hope that you get that $5 and use it on our Patreon
Yeah.
so that way you can listen to extra episodes. That's all.
Dang, that's true. Yeah. In the future, I'd like to do a giveaway for a little more substantial time, like maybe 6 months, something like that. But for right now, I've had to buy 2 new tires, buy my dog $80 allergy medicine, and fix my computer. And so basically, I'm eating beans for a couple weeks. But that's okay. Beans are good.
And nutritious.
So, another thing we're doing here at Cruelty Podcast is we like to feature small businesses. Mm-hmm. And what do I mean by feature? Okay, here's how this works. If you're a small business owner and you make things with your own sweet little hands, your little baby angel hands.
Angel babies.
That's right. Then you can get in touch with me. Mm-hmm. If you're selling pre-made stuff or MLM, multi-level marketing, or Avon, no. You did not make that with your hands.
I mean, good for you, but that's...
You're in a cult, but that's a whole nother thing.
Not reselling shit.
No, you can resell shit all day.
But I know what you mean, yeah.
No, but I'm talking about where they're like making you sign up other people, subpar shitty products.
That's definitely...
Them crappy leggings that was so ugly that everyone had to have.
Girl. I got some... gas station leggings that say super, super duper soft, and
what
they
gas
really
station
are.
You getting pants at?
They're like $5.
Where?
The one with the big ice cream cones.
Oh shit, I love the one with the big ice cream cones. That's in Garfield, Arkansas, okay?
If you ever want to people watch, go to that one. Because it's so many after church people with just going ham on the biggest ice cream cones.
It's in the Guinness Book of World Records.
It's huge. And they look, there's just like so many people, and you know what they look like? Sucking dick.
Everybody just looks like they're filleting like a 2 foot tall creamy cone. They have all got the ice cream around their mouth.
And they're just licking.
It's just glopping and licking. Yep. It's a misophonia person's nightmare.
Just put on headphones and watch them. It's fun. I love it.
What leggings you get from that store?
It's soft. They're called super soft.
Have I seen them on you?
I think they're these, honestly. I'm sitting here touching them. I'm like, wow, they're so soft.
$5?
$5, girl.
Girl, once I get a new tire, I need to go get me some gas station pants. Any fucking way. What is happening? I don't know. Anyway, we like to showcase a business, and today's business
yes
is Tiny Sea Crafts. So they make really cute masks, mini backpacks, mouse ear headbands, bibs, keychains, scarves, hair accessories, totes, and more. They can custom make stuff too. They have a great selection of fabrics you can choose on their site. And let me tell you, they're really well made. Mm-hmm. We've received several things from them, and I was honestly really impressed with not only how cute they were, and the quality of the craftsmanship was just outstanding. So I was just really chuffed, as the Brits would say, which sounds bad, but it means good.
I was once a seamstress, and I can tell you that the sewing is great.
Top notch.
Yes, very good. Good work.
So I will link to their website in the description and their Facebook and all that good stuff. And if you use code TBAG, all caps, at checkout, you'll get a discount.
Hell yeah.
And if you're sitting there and you're thinking, Lillian, I have a small business. What do I do? Email me. My email will be in the description. You'll send us a sample of your product, and in return, we will give you a week's worth of commercials.
And space on our Instagram.
That is correct. Mm-hmm. So I'm making another little announcement. We have a very, very special Maris Monday coming up.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
I know you don't know. This is breaking news. Okay, so if you live in a box and don't look at anything, you wouldn't know that a whistleblower from with the highest security clearance ever has come forward to say that not only does the U.S. government have UFOs, crashed ones, they got the bodies too.
What do they look like?
You know, little alien guys, the grays with the big eyes. Those dudes.
They really do have.
They really fucking look that way.
They really look like that?
Yeah. Doesn't it piss you off a little bit? Kind of pisses me off.
There's so many things in Hollywood movies.
Predictive programming is what it's called.
It's just real. That's just really how it is. It's just painted a different picture.
I know.
Or wearing a cute costume or something.
They say, these whistleblowers say, Close Encounters of the Third Kind is pretty accurate. I'm saying. Anyway, we're going to do a special and give you guys all the tea on that shit. I have been researching my ass off. You know I love UFOs, guys.
Yeah.
And you may think, oh, Lillian, I don't care. I know that you don't care. I'm asking you to care a little bit for me. I'm so pumped. I called my dad because he used to make fun of me when I was a kid for believing in UFOs. And I said, who was right, motherfucker? Not only is it not a phase, I'm still goth, by the way, at 44. I was like, but UFOs are real, suck dicks. God. Just want a little credit. I feel like a crazy person when say, I told you it was real. That's how I feel.
Like, okay, Grandpa.
Okay, Grandma, let's go back to bed. I'm about to go to bed. Fuck all y'all. But please, this is me and Maris are so excited. Mm-hmm. Do you want to hear us holler about UFOs for an hour? Please tune in. Other than that, our Patreon's pretty lit, as the kids say. Stupid.
That was cute.
No, it wasn't.
Oh,
it was very dumb. I'm not blushing. I've got stuff in my eyes for real. I don't blush. That's for pussies.
This is right. Uh-huh.
I am going to physically assault you the minute I hit stop on the recording.
Cute.
Don't. Just. I have no spoons, only knives. I don't even remember what I was fucking saying. Patreon is cool. We do a bonus weekly episode plus many other things. Also, please join our Discord. Why are you scared? Don't be. It's cool there. Are you like, but Lillian, I don't know how to use Discord because I'm 35 to 45 years old. Well, good news. I can show you how. Yeah, I could show you how. My kids had to show me, so there's no shame here. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's all I got. I'm derailed and mad now. I'm gonna drink my water because I'm dying.
Y'all get in Discord and call Lillian cute because she hates it. It's the one thing she hates the most.
I'm not cute.
Adorable.
Fuck all the way off. No, I'm not. I'm a lot of things.
It's cute when she's mad.
The thing is, a little ding dong Willow doesn't know what I'm like when I'm actually really fucking mad. She wouldn't say it's cute because no one says it's cute because I'm scary and I throw things.
No, I'm just very irritating.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Pesky. Pesky's the word I'd use. Yeah, you're sitting over there like a little goblin.
I want to tickle.
Oh, I'm just going to clean your clock. I wouldn't, but I am imagining it. Know that I'm imagining just slapping the taste out of your mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Just,
get it.
I'm not.
No. I'm sorry. Jesus. It's been a really long week.
I'm just trying to do a podcast. That's all I'm trying to do. Anyway.
I love y'all.
If all you can do to support this podcast and support this nonsense fever dream that we've created here is to listen, well, I'm surprised, but also thank you very much.
Thanks.
I gotta get good at these ad transitions.
It's fine. We'll practice.
You'd think doing it 400 times would be nope. Every time I'm like, I've forgotten everything I was going to say. Anyway, I'm going to go now before I ruin it with some more. I love you. Goodbye. Us on your social media platform of choice. Linktree/cruelty has all the links. Check out our Patreon for exclusive episodes, merch, ad-free episodes, live ghost hunts, and much more. Please be sure to subscribe. New episodes are uploaded weekly. Thank you so much. See you next time. Music and production by Lee.